What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock and what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to break down why tomorrow is going to be a very important day for NIO, because NIO does need to get a nice bounce tomorrow. It needs to break this very key resistance zone in order for there to be hope for the bulls. If it fails tomorrow and maybe even during the later days of this week, it is likely not going to be that good. So I'm going to break down what on earth the charts are telling us, what the data means, how this all could affect NIO, and what you should watch for tomorrow. Now, before I break anything down, though, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Make sure you take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each valued at up to $3,000. And the best part is, any could be a free NIO share, a free Tesla share, or a mix of all of them. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 1 week. Make sure you check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So anyways, when it comes to NIO, this thing is in a very, very interesting state. You can see NIO has been bouncing back and forth between support and resistance. The major resistance is very close to this 10.5 zone. It doesn't have to be one perfect value, it's just around this area, and we have support around $10 flat. Now, some people have interpreted this as a triple bottom and we should get a breakout to the future. I don't really see it that way. I do think it is possible for NIO to try, but what's happening is we did break below $10 a couple of times. We actually had 9.91 in a day before bouncing back, and we do have this pattern right here. You can see NIO has a tendency of forming these candles where we get these long wicks down, we come right back up, we bounce to the top, we get rejected, come back down, we bounce to the top, come down, we bounce off, and the trend just goes on, right? So the real question is, can NIO break this key resistance? Can NIO break out to the upside? And the answer is, it's going to depend on the market as well. Now, the odds, in my opinion, are favoring that we're going to eventually break to the downside over the next 2 weeks, somewhere during that time frame. And I want to talk about why that is. Now, to start us off, NIO is actually still at pretty flat volume. We actually closed at 0.0%. We didn't actually move up or down compared to where we opened at. And that's very interesting, right? We got a nice push up. We came right back down. The close was the same as where we opened. And that's despite the fact that we are getting below average volume. So NIO is not getting the same bullish buying pressure as before. And on top of that, we have a big increase in the short volume percentage. This means that the majority of the volume at 52% was made up of selling and also shorting. So please be very, very careful when things like that happen. And on top of that, I also noticed a slight increase in the overall short interest. It used to be at about 3.7 million, and then it increased to about 4.5. So we saw an extra 1 million NIO shares shorted in just one day. That was last Friday. And as far as seasonality goes, I know we can't really talk too much about Monday because the market is closed today in commemoration of President's Day here in the US. But for Tuesday, NIO does tend to have decent days. We're going about 55% of the time. So I do believe it is possible for NIO to try to close a little green, but I don't think it's going to be that significant, right? Looking at the price-price ratio, it's pretty low. NIO is underperforming. We're also seeing it underperforming compared to SPY and both NASDAQ. On top of that, there was some news that came out that commercial vehicle manufacturer Horizon secures Series B plus financing from NIO Capital. So very interesting to see this actually playing out, as NIO is actually improving the amount of funds that they're using for mass production and things like this. And I believe that NIO's actually forming more ties like this. So this is once again very, very good news going long term. And I also believe that this will also help develop liquid-cooled battery packs with expandable capacities and etc. So this could also help NIO once again, right? It's like they're making an investment in someone that could help them going forward. On top of that, NIO did tweet this: grand presence, unparalleled performance, and amazing space in their new ES8. Once again, absolutely beautiful car. And I do believe NIO has more to come going forward. So now let's talk about the charts, what's going on. I just want to mention that SPY is in a very important zone too. We need to break 408. if there's going to be hope for the bulls, then we need to try to break 410 after that. One of these is going to be very strong resistance, maybe 410. It could be 408 as well, but 410 as well. We also have this gap up here. I think we're going to try to fill the gap. I do think we're going to try to get a push up, but I can't guarantee we're going to actually break these strong resistance levels now because a lot of big bears are lurking and we don't have the same crazy option chain as last week, meaning the market makers are not as incentivized to artificially prop the markets up as much as before. So this is telling me the market might push up. We're likely going to get a rejection somewhere, and the odds are favoring downside to come a little bit later. I think it might take some time though. Maybe after PCE data comes out on Friday. It could be so many things, right? So we have to be patient on that. Next up, we have the QQQ. And I also want to note before I talk about that, as the market is cooling off just a bit, the VIX is also breaking out. Let me just pull up my VIX chart. The VIX is also breaking some major resistance levels. And when we see the VIX do this, right, we're actually above this falling wedge. The VIX has broken out. So if it does continue, once again, this will be correlated with the market slowing down. For the QQQ, I just want to note that the triple Q right now is giving us not the best of signs. It's clearly slowing down on a daily time frame. If you look at our MACD, once again, we got a nice crossover right here. It is favoring some bearish momentum. It's slowing down. RSI is slowing down too. And I'm seeing it got a nice push up, right? It did push up before. It looked like it formed a topping process. Tech is starting to show some weakness. And I do believe we're going to try to get a push up, but we have to break above this 304 to 305 area for there to be more hope for the bulls. I don't think it's going to break out too strongly. I think it's going to try to fill this gap first and continue to come down. And it's eventually, in my opinion, maybe either starting as soon as tomorrow or maybe going into the later days of this week, we're likely going to get a retest of this zone. But before it happens, we could try to push up. We might even be able to close just somewhat green. I think the market's going to hold up a little bit better for Tuesday, Wednesday, and etc. But we might see the market slow down by Thursday and Friday. That's just what my 2 cents are telling me. And in my opinion, what this means for NIO is, yes, there could be downside to come in the future, but before it comes, NIO might try to hold the levels it's currently at. So as for NIO, I just want to mention that NIO actually got a bounce off that $10 support. So far, it's fighting, it's trying to hold, and I do believe that NIO is going to try to get another attempt to the upside. NIO, in my opinion, is going to try to make its way up to about 10.5 tomorrow. And I don't want to guarantee if it's going to break it or not. It's likely going to fail around here. That's what odds are favoring. But if it does break it, there is 10.8. Once again, I don't think that's going to happen unless there's a massive piece of news. I'm favoring that NIO is going to push up and get rejected off this 10.5 area, very close to it, trade sideways from there and actually close just a little bit green, maybe around 10.25 or so. But later on during the week, I do think we're going to start retesting $10 again and again, and the odds do favor us breaking below it very soon as tech is starting to slow down. So anyways, that's what I have for this video. We do have some very critical levels for tomorrow. If you want to turn to a mega bull, NIO needs to close above 10.5. If it does that, there is a chance it could keep going and try to get back to the 11s. But as long as it does not close above 10.5, like we have been for the past week, it's decreasing the odds of NIO actually getting the big breakout people are looking for, right? And the odds are favoring downside for the future as well. So I want to be as blunt and clear as possible. I hope this was clear for everyone. And I just want to thank you all so much for listening. NIO to the moon, because the long-term future is still incredibly bright, and peace out.